Aloha, I'm Representative Cynthia Thielen. I represent Kailua Kaneohe Bay, and I'm here today with Robert Harris, Director of the Sierra Club Hawaii Chapter. We have some very interesting things to discuss for the viewers to see, and with a call to the viewers to please say, get a hold of your legislator and weigh in on these two issues that we're going to be discussing today. Robert, I'd like you to introduce yourself and just tell a little bit about what you're doing.
Absolutely. My name is Robert Harris, and I am the new director of the Sierra Club and also a lifelong resident of Hawaii. And actually, we are talking beforehand, actually a member, formerly in Representative Thielen's district, and I remember her from growing up in high school. One of the things we're going to be talking about today is water quality standards, and sort of generally the theme for today, I suspect, is water. And
absolutely. Absolutely. Water, and actually House Bill 834.
Correct.
With a Senate companion, but the House Bill 834 is the one that is really moving. And I voted against it, and I would like you to discuss and tell the viewers what this means and what it would mean for Hawaii and Hawaii's waters.
Sure. Well, let's talk about what is a water quality standard, first of all. Federally, we have a statute that we commonly call the Clean Water Act. And so it has this very broad, very simple definition. It says that all our waters will be fishable and swimmable.
Fishable and swimmable.
Yeah.
That's really wonderful. It says it all, doesn't it?
It does. It's actually kind of ironic because it says that all our waters will be fishable and swimmable by 1985. So we're a few years behind, and we're still working on it. But it also prevents anyone from putting any discharge into the waters at all. So it's just a flat prohibition. Except you are allowed to get a permit, and we call it an MPDS permit. And all this really is that you will go to the state, usually, and you'll say, here's what I want to do. I have a operation where water comes in, and I need to dump the water back out, or whatever it may be. And usually what the states will do is they'll ask that you use the best technology available to remove any contaminants and try and make sure that the impacts are as mild or as limited as possible. The other component we have, though, is we have set up these water quality standards, and they're different from state to state. And the concept is we want to identify what's going to have the least impact on our public health, what's going to have the least impact on our marine ecosystems. And the water quality standards are important because if you exceed them, obviously the Department of Health here has an obligation to notify people, and we have occasionally seen beaches shut down.
Well, yes, and that's happened during some of the very heavy storms, and that's happened on Kailua Beach.
Yeah. And so obviously water quality standards are important because it sort of sets the maximum level of, wait a second, stop, this is getting to the point where there may be health consequences. But it also impacts when they issue these permits because it helps set up for the state agencies that if we allow too much of a certain, say for instance, a pesticide to get in the water, we're going to be hitting these standards. And therefore it affects the permitting process as well, what those eventual water quality standards are. And so there are, and we adopted these standards first roughly back in 1980. And there is by statute a requirement that agencies every 3 years have to go about and re-examine the water standards. And we have done that fairly consistently. Mm-hmm. The last time we amended it was in 2004. There are standards set for our pesticide levels and for our bacteria levels, which have been the source of controversy. And I think there is some agreement that the science behind it needs to be re-examined. But
okay. Now, what about for sewage facilities?
Sure.
Let's go to the heart of what is behind this House Bill 834, which is of great concern.
Sure. Well, there's two specific things going on with the city and county of Honolulu with regards to their wastewater facility. First, and anybody who's been in Hawaii is familiar with the fact there's been a lot of, and too much, unfortunately, litigation behind the wastewater treatment. And the city has entered into these consent decrees where they agree to do certain things, And then, you know, years go by, and unfortunately some of these things don't occur, and so there's more litigation and more litigation. So that's been going on. And so the most recent bout of litigation has been, it has some tie into the otherwise spills, but generally it has to do with the fact that the city is in violation of the state water quality standards. They're pumping the effluent out
from the sewage.
From the sewage. So they do primary treatment, which means they remove a lot of the solids, but the rest of it will go out into the water.
And where is it going into the water, so the viewers would know?
Sure. There's 2 treatment plants, one in Honouliuli and one at Sand Island.
And the Sand Island tides take it where?
Well, they do have pipes that run out. So there's outfalls that go out, and they're about a mile out into the water. And so one of the things that's occurred, again, so there's the litigation going on, and there's also a, under the Federal Clean Water Act, every municipality in the United States is supposed to have what's called secondary treatment, which essentially is just a higher advanced treatment of the sewage before we release it out.
Well, let me just interrupt for a moment there,
Sure.
because in Kailua, we have made sure that there is secondary treatment of the sewage before it goes in the outfall. And at one point, former Mayor Fossey wanted to go to just primary treatment and not do the secondary treatment in the Kailua area. And I have never seen a Windward meeting as crowded with as many people just saying to the mayor as he walked in, Mayor Fossey, no way. You keep treating that sewage, you keep the secondary treatment, and don't make it anything less, because these are the waters where we swim, our children swim, where we boat, where we fish. So we kept that up. But on the other side, what you're saying is there's only primary treatment.
That's correct.
And the city is now fighting to make that be, through a bill in the legislature, fighting to say that that's okay, where it has been illegal under federal law. Yeah,
so what happened under the federal law is we created this waiver system where we allowed and it's particularly established primarily for Hawaii. So we allowed the County of Hawaii to apply for the waiver every 5 years. And EPA is supposed to take a look at all the scientific evidence and do evaluation whether or not there's any risk to public health or safety as a result of this waiver. So 2 years ago, they announced a preliminary decision saying we're not going to give you another waiver. And the reason why is they had